I thought that now I would talk about my stroke. My stroke occurred when I was in London with my husband and daughter. I was going there on vacation with my daughter Charlotte for her birthday. Her birthday is on December 12th, and I had my stroke on December 5th. So, happy birthday, Charlotte. My husband was in London on business, so I flew over with my daughter to see him and begin our vacation. We had an apartment on Canary Wharf. We took the Heathrow Express to Paddington Station. We met Scott in Paddington. Scott wanted to hurry to the apartment, but I wanted to stop and get some soup. So we did. We ate the soup and then got on the subway to Canary Wharf. We were staying in a suite, which was paid for by my husband's company. It was very exciting. The suite was beautiful. Charlotte was about to turn 11. Our first night in London, we were going to see my colleague Michael and his girlfriend Melanie, who was singing in a choir in London. We seemed to have our act together. We called him in advance to tell him that we were coming and coordinate our plans. Everything was set. We left our apartment with Charlotte and decided to take the subway to the concert. We took the DLR, which was elevated at Canary Wharf. Suddenly, I didn't feel well. The train was right there, so we jumped on. There were people in the subway making a lot of noise, so we went up to the street level because the subway had suddenly gone underground. We stopped at the ticket booth and told the people in the ticket booth were very nice that it seemed that suddenly I was sick. I felt as though I was like blown over. I felt as though I was in a wind tunnel. I felt like I was going to fall down. Something was wrong. I was panicked. Something was terribly wrong. I have never felt this way before. Someone showed up on a bicycle who was an EMT. I guess they called an ambulance. When the ambulance arrived, they asked me some routine questions. I answered the questions as calmly and thoroughly as possible. They asked me my phone number, and instead of giving my home phone, I gave my phone number from growing up. I don't remember this, but it was the first time that my husband thought that I was not all there. They took my blood pressure and it was very high, stroke proportions. I could see them looking at each other and giving some sort of look. I wanted to say to them, "Hey, what's wrong?" But I didn't. I don't really remember the ambulance ride, but I was laying down in the back and my daughter and my husband were with me. I do remember getting to the hospital, but that's about all I remember. The next part comes from my husband. Apparently, my brain was swelling and I went into a coma. We got to the hospital and the ambulance drivers kept on apologizing for how much of a dump the hospital was. But they were quick to point out that hospital was the best in London. The hospital was about to undergo some steep renovations in the years ahead. More on that later. After all, it was a Saturday night, and typical Londoners were in the hospital getting treated. They were on the right, so they took us to the left. At this point, I was still conscious. There was a commotion coming out from my examination room. They were saying something over the public address system that I had crashed. It was loud and confused. Melanie showed up, but Michael was buying things in the gift store for Charlotte. The concert was long over. The doctor came out and he was crying. "First of all," he said, "your wife is charming. She captivated all of us, but she is now in a coma. I don't think she will survive this." My husband was in shock. How could this be? Again, 1 minute I was fine riding the DLR, and the next thing I was about to die? This could not be the case. There had to be some type of warning. A nurse came out and gave him, my husband, my wedding and engagement rings. What? So then the doctor went back to work.